will never give you up. The Strait of Hormuz must be shut. Blockade, blockade. In my head just blockade. Please let the ships go through. Come on, at least a few. If you block me, then I block you. Blockade, blockade. I thought this was easy peasy. Blockade. Now Magda and Melania leave me. Blockade. Surrender is beneath me. Blockade, blockade. I think soon I get impeached.
Well, no apples today. I got a lady though. Maybe she'll come with me. She's a Chihuahua. A little more used to this sort of work. But anyway, thought I better give an update about what's going on in the Matrix. Don't have apples today, don't have my wife, don't have my son. They all went on a day trip to the city. But the work goes on out here. Got all the kids working, child labor, just like all of us anarcho-capitalists always talk about. Lots of work going on. We're getting ready for the apocalypse. And yeah, we're right into it. So over the weekend, there was the negotiations in Pakistan and between the US and Iran. Funny thing is, you know, Donald Trump, the art of the deal, that deal maker, I can close any deal. Here's where he was this weekend. Why is the Secretary of State at a UFC fight and not involved in negotiations? There he is with Donald Trump. Hey, you think pretty big negotiations. This is one of the bigger things that's happened in this century. Basically the start of World War III. You know, all those negotiations, World War II, you'd have like Churchill and Stalin, they'd all go smoke cigars. But at least they'd go. Trump just goes to a UFC fight with the Secretary of State and he sends over J.D. Vance. You know, the same J.D. Vance who visited the Pope. And then like the next day the Pope died. Who was like good friends with Charlie Kirk. Then he got shot, they say, in the neck, and then he hosted his show. Or the guy who campaigned for the Hungarian Prime Minister, Orban. And then he lost to like a Zionist guy just the other day. And they sent J.D. Vance over to do the talks. You know, this guy who's just an idiot. Not that it matters, it's all fake. But big surprise. He's like, can't make a deal, just can't do a deal. He flew back. So oil actually went up quite a bit over the weekend because of that. Went up to about 103. That's on the paper markets. In the real world, it's $150. And of course, the big talk is about how to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which was open before they did all this stuff. And then they came out and said, well, even if we did open it, you can't use it. Yeah, it's the Truman Show. Okay, now tell them we can't find the mines. And then right after that, Donald Trump said they're going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, which was already basically blockaded by Iran. So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to. No, they were failed. But the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it's kind of funny that They say the reason they can't come to a deal is because Iran won't stop giving up their ability to enrich uranium for nuclear bombs, which, drum roll please, don't exist. See, this is all a show. Now, it's a show with ramifications. Oh yeah, big ramifications. But it's all BS, all of it. But it's pretty incredible to see, and this is all part of the agenda as well. You had Iran blocking the Strait for a month and a half. And to get back at them, the US is now blocking the Strait. You see what's going on? They're putting in Agenda 2030. And they couldn't get people to go with the carbon credit stuff. So they're just destroying all of the oil supply now. But at least one person spoke up on Twitter against all this. Donald Trump said, "Open the fucking Strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell." That was a few days ago. But it's another genius 5D chess move. Danzu, break an enemy blockade by blockading their blockade. Oh. Open the Strait of Hormuz, or I'm closing the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, you tell them. And here's most people waking up Monday morning to realize we're in the blockade of a blockade of another blockade. And then in response to the US now blockading the Strait of Hormuz, Iran said, if Trump carries out his Strait of Hormuz blockade, Iran will respond by taking control of the Bab el-Mandab Strait through the Houthis and block it. Yeah, Iranian military imposes its own blockade on every port in the Middle East. No vessel can use these ports. The threat continues until US blockade is lifted. The US blockade on Iran has begun.
Emphasized that the Iranian armed forces are defending the nation's legal rights as both a natural and legal duty. The spokesman reaffirmed that Iran's sovereignty over its territorial waters will continue to be strongly protected. He also made it clear that vessels from the enemy nations will not be allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, while those following the Iranian regulations will still have access.
He's starting to get it yet. This is all a show to shut down all the oil, to cause, and this is what I've been saying this for a couple years, the next big financial crisis, the next big crash will likely be started with World War III. That was one of my options. Also cyber attacks, also COVIDs 2.0. All three of those things are happening right now, by the way. But the biggest one is the World War III. And I said they're going to have to do something to set it off. Well, this is it. But hardly anyone can see it. Even most people can't see it. Even people I know, they're pretty smart. They're like, no, Trump, he's trying to do this deal. No, he's an actor. Why don't they get it? They're under mind control. He's got a pentagram on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's in the World Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame. You get all these people who've been watching History Channel their whole life. They're like, no, you see, there's this military, he's trying to do that to this military. Maybe at the lower levels, at the higher levels, this is all an agenda. You'll see very quickly. It's only going to be a few more weeks. Because those oil ships travel at the speed of a bike. If you said to me, hey Jeff, can you bike over to Dubai? Just imagine that, right? And let's say I've got a Tesla machine, which I do, and let's say I really don't even need to sleep, and I go 24 hours a day. How long is that going to take me? Go all the way up. Well, first of all, I can't really because there's no direct way on land, but let's say there was a bridge. I have to go all the way across the Pacific Ocean, all the way across Europe, all the way down through Africa, or I guess across Africa on my bike. How long do you think that would take? A couple months? Yeah, that's how long it takes. And all that's happened is, the reason the world looks fairly normal at the moment is all the ships that left the Middle East, before all this stuff happened, they shut everything down, destroyed most of the oil facilities in the Middle East. They're still en route to where they were going. The final ships are arriving in the next few weeks all over the world. So everyone's like, oh, so this guy in bitching, he's crazy, he says it's going to be insane. Everything's fine. And besides, they're not telling us on the television programming that there's anything to worry about. I know, they're setting everyone up. This is going to be huge. Huge. Especially now that it's like triple blocked. Everything's blocked. Iran blocks Hormuz. Behind him's a lady with a gun. US blocks Hormuz. Behind him's a guy with a gun. Iran blocks Bab el-Mandeb. Up in the rafters, US blocks Bab el-Mandeb. I don't know why most people can't see it. This is obviously an operation. Everything's blown up. Russia, most of their oil facilities are blown up too. This is going to be huge, massive. And like I've said for the last few weeks, it's so bizarre that no one knows what's going to happen. But it's very clear. It's going to be chaos, especially in Europe. Europe is going to be insane. Actually just knocked out another pipeline going to Europe. I'll get to that in a second. There's so many things to cover. This is a massive operation. It's also going to be massive opportunities. Like, if you ever were going to subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter, now is the time. There's going to be huge opportunities. Oil's still under $100. It went over 100 a little bit for the last couple of days. But now it's back under. It's like 98 or something again. Still a huge opportunity. I wrote all about it in the last Dollar Vigilante dispatch that went out almost 2 weeks ago. So you can go get a free subscription, dollarvigilante.com/free trial. And you can go read that. And you can also, because it's a 2-week free trial, you'll get our next issue, which is coming out on the 15th in the evening, which is just 2 days from now, like 1 day from now after you see this video. And I actually have a huge download of exactly how this is all going to play out over the next few years. Like, I've already written like so much for it. And you can get that for free right now. dollarvigilante.com/free trial. I don't know why more people don't do it. And even if you sign up after the free trial, it's like $20 a month. It's like nothing. It's basically zero. Zero!
Zero!
And because most people have no clue what's going on, you will be able to profit massively from everything going on while everyone else gets destroyed. And everyone will be getting destroyed. This is huge. This is massive. But until the last ship comes and there's no more ships, and even if they open it all right now, which is they're not, it's double lockdown right now. Even if they open it all, and even if all the oil facilities in the Middle East worked, which they don't, most of them are destroyed, and they just fill them all up with oil. Still be 2 months before anyone would get it. Not 2 months, especially in Europe, is going to be brutal. Like I haven't bought my tickets to Liverpool. Now, if you're in Europe, it's no big deal. You can buy your tickets and your flights a couple of days before if it's working. But I'm not even thinking about it right now because it's August 15th, so it's April now. So May, June, July, August, 4 months from now. It's possible it might be, Europe might still be there in 4 months. Like, there's no way to know exactly how this is going to play out. But am I planning for it? No. No. Like 4 months, like, no, you can't plan 4 months ahead to go to Europe right now. It's incredible. And it's incredible, too, how long this has been talked about. This has really been a topic of conversation for decades, even going back to the 1970s. Here's 1975 with the Shah of Iran, just talking about how the West wants to attack Iran to take their oil. So this is 50 years ago, and it's totally true today.
Do you think our inflation in the Western world is our own fault?
Not mine, anyway, because it started well before we increased the price of oil.
But how much does it actually cost for your country to produce oil? In Canada, it costs us a great deal because we have to get it out of the Arctic. We have so many natural barriers to it. But you're just pumping it out of the sand as you've always pumped it out.
I don't think that this is a very fair question, because you are paying more your workers, so you have the right to ask more for your oil. And furthermore, then you are blessed with other things. For instance, you can grow wheat so cheap because you don't need any irrigation. You get all the water from the skies. You don't have to spend any money on the irrigation of that when we have to do it. And that's why you and the Americans are feeding the world with your wheat. And all of a sudden, your wheat that was sold for $60 a few years ago, you sold it for $245 last year or the year before. So your question, I don't think, is fair.
What you're trying to say is that we are asking more for our commodities the same way that you are.
Yes, exactly. And why? I don't know why you think that you are superior.
Do you think that we generally suffer from that, the feeling that we are?
I think that you are, so far, maybe, but probably you will change.
Why will we change?
Because your eyes are opened. And fundamentally, you are not unjust people. You have just been living in an unjust world for so long. But you will accommodate with the new realities of the world. We won't be pushed around. We don't wish a war. But if it is imposed on us, we will not shrink. For the next 20, 25 years, it's absolutely vital for us because the Straits of Hormuz, which is the entrance to the Persian Gulf, is our jugular vein. We live by that. Nobody could invade us without being forced to crush us, because we are not going to surrender. What excuse will you have to come to these oil-producing countries? It will be barbaric, without any precedent in the world, the worst imperialistic movement that the world had ever known. How could you do that?
And by the way, for all the people in the US who are like cheering this on or are in favor of it because they're like, yeah, let's go steal their oil. Do you understand just how evil you are? Do you think it's cool to just go steal people's stuff? Like, that's basically communist mindset. Just, you know, and just an evil mindset of just, you know, if you got some more guns than the guy next door, go take all his stuff. Like, that's how evil so many people in the world are today, and they're just cheering this on. Donald Trump says all this stuff all the time. He's like, if you're not strong enough, we're just going to come and take it. And people cheer for it. Those people, do they understand the amount of karma they're going to get from this? Supporting basically evil. This is just evil. All this stuff. But if I see stuff online about, you know, the U.S. is blockading the Strait, and a lot of Americans are like, yeah, you show Iran. It's like, what are you talking about? But they're inside of an evil empire, and they've become evil themselves. It's so incredible. But of course, Trump, you know, before he came in as president, all he talked about was, we got to get out of the Middle East, we got to bring the troops home. All lies, 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 lies. Why? Because he's an actor. And look at all the people around him. All of the people around him, all have spoken out against him in the past, basically saying he's a con man, he's a liar, he's demented, he's delusional. These are all of the people that work with him now. So, were they lying before, or are they basically just actors too? I think you can kind of guess at this point, can't you?
A really bad candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
It's typical Trump. All bluster, very little substance. He talks a tough game.
For you to think that you can pimp out our proud servicemen and women to the Prince of Saudi Arabia is disgraceful. And it once again shows that you are unfit to serve as our commander-in-chief.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
No. He's an armchair tough guy. I hate to say it, but this is a guy who said that John McCain is not a war hero, yet he sought his own 5 military deferments.
There's nothing in our Constitution that gives you the power to go to war without the express consent of Congress.
This is the most important government job on the planet. We're about to turn over the conservative movement to a person that has no ideas of any substance on the important issues, the nuclear codes of the United States, to an erratic individual.
There is definitely an element of Donald Trump's support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia. I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
My fellow service members and I, we are not your prostitutes. You are not our pimp.
Anyway, we're all ready for everything. Got goats, sheep, don't ask me which are which. The white one's a goat. Got chickens. We're going to make that chicken coop way better, by the way. Got greenhouses, growing all our own food. Got a river. We've got the solar panels going in. Got a blue roof. We're ready for everything coming. That's great, too, because a lot of like fairy tale sort of children's cartoons have been coming out trying to explain what's going on here, so I could kind of show these to my kid.
You're my favorite toy. You do everything I say. You go wherever I point you. And the best part is, you think it's all your idea.
Bibi! Bibi! Put those stupid toys away and come eat your breakfast. You have a very busy day of destroying nations today.
That boy really abuses those stupid toys.
What the hell are you guys looking at? On your feet! We're going to war! I don't know who we're fighting or why, but Bibi said go, so we're going! Don't ask questions! Move out! I gave that kid everything he asked for, and I still ended up on the floor. Good luck, Jack. Hey! Zip it, Sleepy Joe! Can you not see I'm building something very important here? This is the third temple! Come on, man. And when Bibi sees it, he's gonna realize I'm his favorite toy.
Meanwhile, as part of the show, the U.S. and Trump and J.D. Vance, who basically probably killed the last pope, are now threatening the new pope and the Catholic Church. And it's kind of funny to see people going, how dare they threaten the Catholic Church and the Pope? That is like God's. It's like, wow, not God's anything. What are you talking about? These are some of the most evil people on earth. The Catholic Church and the Pope and all those people, it's all part of the Satanic Pedibore group. It's all a big racket. But anyway, as part of the show, the U.S. has threatened to bomb the Vatican and regime change the Pope for the sake of Israel. The direct message delivered to the Vatican's diplomat by the Pentagram: America has the military power to do whatever it wants in the world. The Catholic Church had better take its side. The Pope declared the Iran war unjust, which of course it is, called it a war crime, told Americans to call Congress. Yeah, that'll work. Call Congress. The Schofield Bible Evangelical Zionist Church have declared war on Catholics. In truth, this has been going on for decades. J.D. Vance's conversion to Catholicism was fake, designed to lure Catholics in. His wife is Hindu.
In English, I would simply say, once again, what I said in the Urbi et Orbi message on Sunday, asking all people of goodwill to search always for peace and not violence, to reject war, especially a war which many people have said is an unjust war, which is continuing to escalate and which is not resolving anything. In fact, we have a worldwide economic crisis, energy crisis, situation in the Middle East of great instability, which is only provoking more hatred throughout the world. So come back to the table, let's talk, let's look for solutions in a peaceful way, and let's remember especially the innocent, children, the elderly, the sick, so many people who have already become or will become victims of this continued warfare. To remind all that attacks on civilian infrastructure is against international law, but that it is also a sign of the hatred, the division, the destruction that the human being is capable of. And we all want to work for peace. People want peace. I would invite the citizens of all the countries involved to contact the authorities, political leaders, congressmen, to ask them, tell them to work for peace and to reject war always. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so J.D. Vance is like, you better support our killing little kids in schools and stuff. And the Pope's evil, but even he has to point out, hey, that's like super evil. So Donald Trump put out another long rambling tweet. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but he doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all the Christian organizations had during the COVIDs, which Donald Trump was heavily involved in. It doesn't even make any sense. So Trump's like, you locked down people during the COVIDs, which, you know, was my Operation Warp Speed, where I tried to kill everyone. And they're basically saying, you better support us as we kill all these kids and maybe even kill an entire civilization for no reason to protect gay people or something. It doesn't make any sense. Then Donald Trump tweeted this out. It's a Jesus-looking figure. I don't know who the guy in bed is. Looks like Jeffrey Epstein, actually. And then if you look in the back, there's a bunch of soldiers who are like in heaven because they're all dead. They've been getting killed over in Iran. But if you zoom in on the main one, that doesn't look like a soldier. The figure in Trump's post portraying himself as Jesus is in fact a representation of the demon Astaroth, the Duke of Hell. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, it's another Donzu wisdom moment. Mock your religious leaders. Portray yourself as a god. The enemy will believe you are batshit crazy. This is when you strike. You can't make any of this stuff up. This is insane to watch. All these insane people doing insane things. And so evil, all of them. And of course, the US is talking about bringing in troops. They got non-stop troop carriers going to the Middle East right now. And I think they said they're going to bring in like 50,000 troops and attack Iran now. And Iran supposedly has a 1 million-man army. So those guys are all going to get just absolutely destroyed in a bloodbath in the Strait of Hormuz. This is all so insane. And that whole region's been basically wiped out for energy production. Which oil producers have been hit hardest? Between February and March, overall oil exports from 6 Arab states fell by 44%. Iraq's crude exports were hardest hit, falling 82%, followed by Kuwait at 75%, Qatar at 70%, and Saudi Arabia at 34%, and the UAE at 26%. And a lot of all their infrastructure is all wiped out. And I've mentioned how Russia's had 40% of its oil producing capabilities wiped out. They're not exporting oil anymore. Between the Middle East and Russia, it's almost half the world's oil is wiped out. They've blown up a few refineries here in Mexico. They've done one in the US. They blew up a pipeline in the US, but no one can see it. Like, I don't know how under mind control all these people are, but how can you see all this and not at least be suspicious? Like, is something going on here? Yes, yes, clearly something's going on. And here's the latest one. Attack on an oil pipeline in Italy threatens fuel supplies across southern Germany. Wonder who did that? We'll never know. All the cops are Masons. All the government people are all in the satanic pedophile cult. Just another coincidence. It's incredible. and all to bring in their new world order with people like BlackRock, the World Economic Forum, and they've got a lot of plans for the Goy.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
You do not even have to have elections anymore because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
What we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets.
You want the function, you want the service, right? Why do you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you lease, why shouldn't you lease your refrigerator or your washing machine or your dishwasher, or why do you want to own it?
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media.
If 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and we measure your brain waves.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
And substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
Meanwhile, in Argentina, you've got Javier Milei, who's a cousin of Benjamin Mileikowski, who's not from Israel or even the Middle East.
They call themselves Netanyahu, but it's just a stolen name, a Hebrew mask plastered over a European exile's face. His real name was Mileikowski. Born of Ashkenazi lineage from Poland, Benjamin Netanyahu has neither the blood nor the land nor the language of those he claims to represent. His Judaism is not that of the shepherds of Hebron nor the poets of Jaffa. It is the Judaism of a colonizer from elsewhere who put on the prophet's robe to hide the scent of ashes. Because what he represents today is not a people, it is a machine. A political, military, ideological machine, a machine of steel and contempt. Netanyahu didn't grow up on the banks of the Jordan. He grew up in the salons of New York's conservative elite and the ultra-nationalist sermons of his father, Ben Zion, the hardline Zionist historian. He never spoke Arabic. He never shared bread with a Palestinian. He never had to bury a child beneath the rubble of an Israeli airstrike. He is not from this land. He took it. And yet he decides. He demolishes. He signs the order.
Even here in Mexico, we've got Claudia Sheinbaum, very Mexicano name. Jew. Nicolas Maduro, who no one's heard anything about ever since he flashed his Illuminati hand sign in court and his wife showed up with her black eye for the Black Eye Club. They're Sephardic Jews. The Saudis are Jews. It's incredible. Of course, in Ukraine, Zelensky is a Jew. He's also a gay comedian addicted to cocaine. In Russia, Vladimir Putin's father, I believe, is Jewish, or mother, I can't remember.
I'm sure many of you heard the story of, which I heard from him actually when he was still prime minister. He told me the story of how, as a young child, he grew up in a communal apartment. In the Soviet Union, they used to take these big apartments, divide them into 5, and 5 families to move into an apartment, share the same kitchen, the same restroom, and they all lived in one room. So he lived in such an apartment. It was a very poor family. And next door to him was this Hasidic family who practically adopted him because his parents were very poor. They used to work till very late at night. Each one had 2 jobs. So they used to feed him every day, help him with his homework, take him to stores for when they went out shopping. And he remembers the Friday night at the table. He remembers eating gefilte fish. He remembers this father sitting, like he says, taking this cover over his head and praying for a few hours under this big cover, and then sitting down at the Shabbat table, and after finishing the meal, taking out a Talmud and sitting there for hours and learning. He said he never saw love as much as he saw in this family. Husband and wife caring for each other. He said there was an example of like purity in this family that he never saw again.
He's also part of the World Economic Forum Young Global Leaders. Donald Trump, everyone in his family is Jewish. He basically turned Jewish. He's always at that Shabbat place, which is one of the biggest terror organizations on earth. They're all controlled under this umbrella of Jews, which are actually satanic pedivores. And most of them are actually from Khazaria. And are probably Nephilim. If you don't get any of that, you've missed a lot of my videos over the years. I don't have time to tell it to you. We're running out of time anyway. This is getting near the end. But yeah, you got like all these places, all controlled by people who call themselves Jews. Then Hungary just had a selection. Drum roll, please. They brought Netanyahu's nephew as new president of Hungary. Here he is in his yarmulke. Yeah, that's the new president of Hungary, of course. Probably one of the funniest things as all this stuff's been happening is that they were trying to distract people, saying they're going to the moon again on April Fool's Day. You know, 10 or 20 years ago, 99.9% of people would have said, wow, that's so cool. I can't wait to hear how it went. Whoa, those people are heroes. The internet's been around for a while now and people get access to info. I'd say like, when I see posts online and about half the people are just mocking it going, this is fake, because it's clearly fake. I'll talk about that right now. So it's actually not fooling most people now. It's pretty incredible. But they just tried to do it anyway. And there's so many things that are just so obvious with this, but apparently just touchdown after going around the moon a few times, which never been done before. No man's ever even gone to the moon, they said. And of course, you know, there's no video of it coming down until it's in the ocean. When it hits the ocean, you know, after going through the atmosphere at like 50,000 miles per hour, which the astronauts could not have survived, and the heat would have been so strong, that thing would have been more than red hot. And as soon as it touched the ocean, you'd see steam clouds. It would immediately evaporate all the water around it. But that didn't happen.
So looking at this footage of the Artemis capsule falling back to Earth, they tell us it's moving at 25,000 miles per hour. Think about that speed. How are humans going that fast and not getting hurt at all? We're supposed to believe that these little pieces of fabric can slow a multi-ton capsule from thousands of miles per hour down to car speeds in just a few minutes. The physics just don't add up. Now look at it in the water. This thing supposedly just hit the atmosphere at thousands of degrees. Where's the steam at? Why isn't the water bubbling around it? And look at these coast guards on these boats. They're touching it with their bare hands. If it were that hot, it would melt their skin off. Even the inflatable bags, they're made of rubber. Why didn't they melt? Am I the only one seeing this signature? And again, this is all for entertainment purposes only. No, I don't think this is, you know, fake.
Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splash down, 9 minutes, 35 seconds. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, ComCheck, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Integrity, Houston, ComCheck, post-blackout. Integrity, Houston, ComCheck, post-blackout.
¡Llama para Sevilla! ¡Llama a Sevilla que traigo
But now lots of people look into exactly what did happen. And they put every sort of satanic sort of stuff all around it. Like, even the NASA logo, that's a snake with a snake's tongue. It's all BS, all of it. And there's way more than that.
It is the highest high.
We're going to the moon.
All right, let's show all the good little sheep how they're using CGI to fake all of this Artemis 2 nonsense and garbage. This is an object in the middle. I think it's a bag or some shit, but you can see that it looks like what they're trying to show outside of the spaceship, by the way. And you're also going to see when it like starts to come in here, this bag, you're going to see right here, look at this. What is all that? Look at that. That's a CGI malfunction. It's clear as day, right in front of your face. Here's another great example here. This object, and you're gonna see like letters through it. Again, this is a CGI malfunction, green screen. This is what they've been using, NASA's been using for their entire fucking life. Just CGI nonsense and deceiving humanity. Look at that. Clearly CGI, guys. You're being fooled. Now ask yourself this, your tax money, the money that you slave for, is going towards these space missions when the world needs help. Like, what are we doing going to space when there's so much poverty, there's so much homelessness, like we're sending monies overseas, there's all this war and all this stuff, but we need to focus on this. You guys are being fooled every single day. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're deceiving humanity, they're hiding God's true creation, and they're just laughing in your faces, guys.
Yeah, this is becoming so obvious now, they even have to like kind of say it on things like Saturday Night Live. So on Saturday Night Live, they said this is all being done in a green screen in Hollywood.
On Friday, the Artemis 2 astronauts returned safely from their 10-day trip around the Hollywood soundstage.
During the mission, the crew of Artemis 2 sent back pictures of the rarely seen dark side of the moon, revealing that the moon has a rat tail.
Even the Red Hot Chili Peppers tried to tell us like 30 years ago. Yeah, and not only are they astronauts, they just show it to be. You have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. Luckily, a lot of people are getting some now. But they're not even astronauts, they're actor-nauts.
TikTok, y'all gonna want to stick around for this one. Y'all remember when they said that 2 of the astronauts were central casting? Well, let's talk about it.
127th mission to the space station. Mike and Sonia are the 2 of the 4 American astronauts that are on that flight. They're right out of central casting.
So today is April 10th, and the Artemis 2 is set to splash down in the Pacific Ocean. Do you know what else happened on April 10th? Here, let me show you. And also let me show you who was part of that central casting. On April 10th, 2024, this popular TV show, Fallout, aired. Now the thing about Fallout is, I found one of those astronauts on this show. Meet Victor Glover, who's the pilot of Artemis 2. Do you know who else Victor Glover is? Let's find out. Well, here's Victor Glover 2 years earlier as a cast member on that very famous show, Fallout, which aired April 10th, 2024. Now, when they tell you that they get them right out of central casting, they get them right out of central casting. Now, you might ask yourself, for those of you that don't know, what is central casting? Well, I give you the definition and then show you the company. Central casting. The department of a movie studio responsible for casting actors, especially viewed as a source of people who are stereotypical of their role in appearance, behavior, or nature. And look at the bottom. A politician right out of Central Casting. Now, if you look here, here's the company, Central Casting. It says Central Casting is the leading background actor casting company in the United States. We cast hundreds of roles on set every day. Sign up to be a background actor. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. I told you all, I'm trying to be a great producer like Spielberg, only for Central Casting.
Yeah, all the astronauts are actually actor-nauts. Here's the woman, Christina Koch, actress in Mad Max Fury Road. Came from Central Casting. They already said they did. And that's interesting. She was in Mad Max because the consciousness field that creates all this. See, none of this is real. I'm not real. You're not real. This is an experience we're having inside of what you could call a 3D video game. And it's all energy. And none of this is actually real. It feels real, but it's not real. But because of that, there's this consciousness field that's taken over inside this video. It's crazy. You can actually get out of it, but you got to actually do all the work and bring your oversoul back into your body. That's how you kind of win this video game and you escape the matrix. But so this consciousness field, like, it's writing the script. It's even like what Mossad said on 60 Minutes, but even on higher levels than that.
We write the screenplay. We're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors, and the world is our stage.
There's a grand scriptwriter. It's not even source. It's something that's actually in the video game that's taken over this part of Earth in this video game, and you have to figure it out. That's part of your video game hero's journey that you need to do if you want to escape and win the video game. But it's interesting that they had that astronaut in a Mad Max movie. Because what is the main theme of Mad Max? Well, there's no more fuel. And that's where we're going to now. That's why I'm getting these solar panels put in. That's why I'm even getting an electric car. I don't even like those things, but they're going to be getting rid of most of the oil. But we don't even need that either. A lot of the perpetual energy devices, see, Nikola Tesla already designed a lot of this stuff. You could actually get what you could call electricity. It's even better. Electricity is kind of like a man-made, dirty version of true source power. But with the right things that you can align, you can actually get power out of the ether, the same way you get the plasma. It's basically the same thing. And with the plasma, you can heal yourself of anything. And same with the other energy, which might be the same plasma. I don't exactly know how all this stuff works. But Nikola Tesla already showed. See, that's the joke of Elon Musk's Tesla company. You're sitting on like 800 pounds of lithium batteries that radiate you, give you cancer within a couple of years, basically. I don't know if you knew that. And by the way, if we get one, we're not going to be sitting in it very much, I'll tell you that much. But we'll have it as an emergency vehicle, right? But the joke of it is, Nikola Tesla already showed us how to take the energy out of the ether, and you just need an antenna on your car, and you can run it forever. That stuff, along with the plasma tech, has all been hidden for over 100 years, and is actually stolen by Donald Trump's uncle and the CIA. Oh, Trump's, he's a good guy. His family is one of the most evil families in the history of the world, okay? Just stealing Tesla's technology and hiding it is one of the most evil things that's ever been done. But my point is that all that stuff's coming back. In fact, I don't want to say too much, but the Tesla Club is working on more things than just plasma. That's all I'm going to say for now. But until you can get access to stuff like that, you need to basically survive what's going on, because it is going to be a lot like Mad Max in some ways, in some places. Isn't the Mad Max actor, wasn't that Mel Gibson? Isn't he from Australia? Are they going to do Mad Max in Australia? Is that what they're going to do? See, these are all the clues that you need to figure out in the video game. Anyway, your average normie was all like wrapped up last week with, oh, the toilet's plugged on the space rocket. You really think those guys are up there for like 10 days all shitting and the toilet's clogged and everything's fine? No, none of it's real. And they actually do that on purpose. Because if you think about it, it's like, that's not even possible. But they get people all wrapped up. That was on the news for days. While they're bombing little kids in Iran. While they're cutting off all the oil supply. They don't want anyone to recognize it or realize it. They just had everyone focus. Oh, the toilet's plugged on the spaceship. Oh, really? There's going to be a new Hollywood movie coming out, I'm sure. Artemis. 10 days, no toilet. Pants pooping for all of humanity. And as if all of that wasn't enough to show you this is all a show to keep you basically trapped in the Matrix and distracted from what's really going on. This is probably the most obvious proof of it of them all. Remember when I mentioned they had a new movie out called Fly Me to the Moon? And the general idea was they're going to fake the moon landing. This just came out like 2 years ago. Well, does anyone want to guess what the name of the spaceship was when they faked the moon landing?
So as all the Artemis stuff is in the news, I want to take you back a couple years. Do you guys remember when Apple dropped that movie called Fly Me to the Moon? And if you guys don't remember it, the premise of this movie was in 1969, they had an alternate backup plan to fake a moon landing just in case they couldn't get to the moon.
The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot the backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it?
But what I find really funny about this, do you know what they called their project to fake the moon landing in that movie? Yeah, of course, they called it Artemis. You can't even make this stuff up, or maybe you can, and they do. Because in 1977, they also made a movie called Capricorn 1. And this movie is about a fake mission to Mars. So just before launch, 3 astronauts are secretly pulled from their spacecraft due to a life support failure that would kill them in flight. Instead of canceling the mission, the government officials decide to fake a Mars landing in a hidden desert studio to avoid public embarrassment. The astronauts are forced to go along with the deception while the mission is broadcast to the world as if it were real.
It's hard to believe you really are that far away in space.
It's hard for me to believe it, too.
So maybe it is as the Chili Peppers say, space is the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Yeah, they told you in the movie about faking the moon landing, the name of the ship was Artemis. See, we're getting near the end. And basically, I think Source, plus like even the Matrix itself, is kind of like, just make it super obvious so that more people wake up so they can escape the Matrix before it's too late. So they're just putting all this stuff out there. Like, this should be obvious to most people. But there's lots of people who are like, well, no, they said on the television they went to the moon. It's like, no. They steal everyone's money and then basically destroy them and live off their loosh. That's how this all works. And they've been doing this for like 50 years, every single day. $68 million rolls out, gets stolen from people. When you ask NASA officials what they're spending $68 million on per day. And all of that isn't even talking about what this earth is that we live on. Now, if you've done enough work, you know that actually none of this is real. So if you ask me what shapes the earth, I'd just say to you, if I felt like talking to you, because I don't need to, because it's just a video game, but if I felt like it, I'd go, well, it doesn't exist. Do you think it actually exists? Then you haven't done the work. But a lot of people haven't done the work yet, so they're all still kind of stuck in it. And, but just think about it. Like, just ask questions, right? Like, just think about it too. If we live on this ball going through space at something like 666,000 miles per hour, all the numbers are 66 and 33. The Earth has a 33 tilt. You start to get it. It's all made up inside this matrix. None of it actually exists, but inside the matrix, they've lied about absolutely everything. But I even thought about this when I was a kid. I was like, so people in China are literally right down there. It's a long ways, but they're right down there. And they're walking upside down compared to where I am. And wouldn't it be so cool to actually kind of see that in various ways? Now, I know you couldn't necessarily see it exactly like that, but in some ways you definitely could, right? If we actually lived on a ball. And that's what this guy here is talking about it. Like, why don't they just zoom in? Well, I'll tell you, they don't even go out. All this stuff's fake.
Someone needs to please explain this to me because I don't quite understand. If we can zoom in this close to the moon, if we can get this close to the moon from the Earth with the powerful cameras that we have, and we can just zoom right in on it, then why won't NASA zoom in on Australia? That way we can see this, and the whole debate about whether the Earth is a globe or it's flat would be over, right? Why don't they do that? Why does it look like every single composite of the globe Earth looks like CGI, looks like Photoshop? Why does NASA admit that it's Photoshop, that it is composites, even though we're going to Mars and all this stuff and sending rovers? Make it make sense. If they wanted this debate to end and prove to everyone that the Earth is a globe, this is all they would have to do. It's so simple. They have the technology, clearly. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Someone explain it. Why don't they do that? Why don't they zoom in on the Earth from their locations that they're taking pictures of the Earth from? Doesn't make sense. It's all a lie. The globe is a lie. You're all being fucking duped. Wake the fuck up. Peace and love.
Like, just ask yourself, why are they doing all these things? Why are they trying to fool you with all these things? Well, I'll give you a hint. Inside this video game, you're unbelievably powerful. But part of the video game is that basically the matrix or the mimic mirror consciousness field or whatever tricks you to live off of your leash, just like in the movie The Matrix. Like, basically, when they show people that are basically in these little tanks and they got all these tubes attached to them, and they're living off their energy, that's exactly what this is. But just like Neo, if you do the work, and that's like, you know, spending a lot of time looking at your mind, figuring out your mind, because your mind's also not you. Meditating, connecting to source, not getting trapped in all the things here. You can actually get outside of the matrix. And that's what they don't want. That's what this mimic mirror consciousness field, the satanic pedivore cult, they want to keep you just distracted, dumbed down. They want to keep poisoning you. They want to make you sick. They like it when they kill you, because when they kill you, all the other people around get really sad. They live off that leash. They live off negative energy. And that's why they do a lot of these things. But just think about it. That's what they're doing. So if you didn't realize that at this point, just think about it. There's like $1 trillion operation that goes up even outside of this visible physical world that does everything to make sure you don't escape the matrix. So why would they do that? Well, because you're super, super powerful. You can do anything. But no one seems to know that. But that's why they keep doing all these things, and they're trying to kill everybody. But it's actually not that hard to escape. But you're going to have to wake up. And it seems like a lot of people just don't want to actually face what they need to face to wake up. I guess it's too scary for them because
you can't handle the truth.
Well, all I can tell you is you can totally handle the truth. It's your mind that's scared. Your mind is your ego, which isn't you. And that's one level of this video game that you need to get out of. So you're not actually scared. You're not you. Like if your name is John, you're not John. That's your character inside this video game, but you are actually outside of it. If you believe a lot of stuff Jesus said, he said it all. I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. I'm a character in this game at the moment, but that's not what I am. So if you have any fear of waking up, all I can tell you is, it's the best thing ever. You basically become Neo outside of the Matrix. And that fear you feel is your mind, because you might think your mind is you. And your mind will do anything and everything to... See, your mind is also basically your enemy of the real you. And it, just like the mimic mirror consciousness field, it too. See, you've got so many obstacles. It'll do everything. It'll actually create events. Like if, let's say I was just starting to wake up and I was this close. I was just about there. I was just about to have that epiphany and just wake up to what this was. The mimic mirror consciousness field, your mind as well, might just light this house on fire right then. See, it can do anything. None of this is real. And then what would happen, right? So I'm just about to wake up. I go, oh my God, my house is on fire. And I'd spend all day trying to put it out. You know, if some of my dogs died, I'd be crying. And I might never get back to that point where I was about to wake up. So that's the thing, when you do the meditations and stuff, you have to be aware of that. You will have so many crazy things happen when you get close to waking up. Like insane things. Like stuff that seems like, well, that can't be possible, but it is. This whole thing is built to keep you from waking up. But if you are strong enough, and if you keep at it enough, you can't be drinking or anything. You drink, you're never going to get there, because that keeps lowering your vibration. You'll never be able to get to that level. You got to make it a focus, like your top focus. But if you can, and if you break through, it's the best thing ever. You can do anything. You don't worry about anything. You know what this is. It's the best thing ever. So it's totally worth it. It's actually the only thing to do. We even did a course that kind of like starts you off down this road if you want. Did it a couple of years ago with Johnny Dupre, who's used to be my hypnotherapist. Now he's just a good friend of mine. Let's go to dollarvigilante.com/gamechangers. Start there. Get your physical good, your mental good, get your traumas out. Oh, speaking of traumas, the best thing possible to get your traumas out, because you can't face your traumas. It's too hard. They're called traumas for a reason. It's super hard. You actually have to go and be in it again. That's how you release it. But of course, those traumas were so hard. Your feelings were there was so much fear during that trauma that most people just can't get there without some help. But luckily in this 3D video game, you get lots of help. You get people like Christof Melchizedek. You also get Iboga, which is a plant medicine that will force you to look at it, and then you can release it. And that's a huge step to getting out of this matrix. And I think there's just a couple spots left. There's one in Christof's doing a root initiation in New Zealand on April 18th with his wife Alea. And then he's doing 2 in Mexico coming up in May 15th to the 19th and May 25th to the 29th. So if you want to break out of the matrix, that's one of the main ways to do it. It's not easy and it's not fast to wake up and get out of the matrix. But if you really focus on it, you could probably do it in a couple of years if you really focus on it. And that's about as much time as you have left till basically the bifurcation that's happening. And actually we're going to go, there's going to be, I'm not even going to get into it, but there's going to be some massive events in the next couple of years. But if you can get yourself out of the matrix before then, it's basically all you could ever dream of or hope for beyond your wildest imagination if you can get there. So that should be the only thing you're really working on. Like forget everything else. Forget about your job. Not even going to have it anymore anyway with the AI. Everything's going to collapse economically, financially. Just go do this work 24/7 and be like a monk. Like don't let anyone stop you, because lots of people will try to stop you too. Because lots of people, because they're all in the matrix. And so if you're like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of the matrix, I'm going to go, I'm going to quit my job, go down to the river, meditate every day for like 4 hours a day. Super hard, but I'm going to do it. You'll have everyone trying to stop you. They want to keep you in the matrix with them. That's another thing. There's so many obstacles. And in the matrix, they're still trying to kill everybody, put the nanotech into them. And that nanotech, by the way, won't work if you've basically got your complete oversoul into your body. It overrides everything. You actually burn it out. You actually get the flame plasma back in your bones. I know this is like, it makes no sense to people who don't know about this, but it's true. So that's another reason I don't worry about anything, the nanotech or anything, because I'm doing the work. I've done most of the work. I still got some to do. I don't know if there's ever an end, but I'm pretty close to, like I burn mimic mirror wherever I walk now, because my bones have already ignited with the flame plasma. I probably don't even need the Tesla machine much longer, if at all. I've actually got the plasma running in my bones, which we all can do, but you need to clean it out enough to be able to ignite the flame plasma in your own bones. The Tesla machine can actually help you do it though. Right? Like, look at my gains in the last 2 years. A lot of that's because of the Tesla machine. I've got all this energy. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to the hyperbaric chamber. I'm going to meditate in a plasma bath. A lot of that's because of the energy from the Tesla machine. So you can actually use an aid to get the plasma for now until you can ignite it again back in your own bones. But you're going to have to get rid of all your traumas or your oversoul won't drop in. So that's another reason to do Iboga if you can. Not many people can with Christof, of course. But if you get the chance, I highly recommend it. But they are trying to kill everyone in the matrix with so many things. And the latest sort of thing is the ticks. Like, I didn't even know about this, but tons of farmers have been finding ticks, boxes of ticks. The Department of Offense, the military, DARPA and all that, have been working on tick-based viruses and diseases, things that make you sick with ticks for decades. They even created Lyme disease. You know when you hear about some people that go, I got Lyme disease? That's actually created by the US government. And they get them through ticks. Hey, yeah, yo. All right, my dog's got into a fight. Yep. They've been getting into tons of fights lately. I had to throw one into a pool. I don't know what's going on with Cielo and Luna. But it's a good thing that I'm just totally in the moment. As they were fighting, I'm like, how do I get them to stop fighting without putting my camera down so I can use both hands? I was like, I'm going to kick one of them in the pool. And that worked. That's why not in stressful situations, not going into a program of fear or panic or anger or any of those things is super important. Because I was able to quickly end that fight just by being present and going, okay, I saw it pretty quick. I'm like, how am I going to stop this? Because I couldn't with one hand. And I was like, I'll throw one of them in the pool. And that ended it pretty quick. Anyway, so they're trying to kill you with ticks now. And like I said, farmers have been finding these ticks all over the place. I think this is kind of going to be their next COVIDs 2.0, which I said they're going to launch soon.
We have a lot of strange reports coming out in connection to ticks. Farmers saying that boxes of them are being delivered to their farms. Also, the evidence that ticks are being used and have been used as a bioweapon with Lyme's disease. Of course, there's connections to the Gates Foundation, and there's something very interesting happening with Pfizer and the timing of all of this. We'll also end the video off with some of the spiritual things that you can do as you go out in the world with all of this stuff happening all the time. This was the first video that kind of set all of this off. Farmers are reporting boxes of ticks being found in fields. This should concern you. Online fact checkers are saying that there's no evidence in support of this. In the description on that Instagram video, the person said that they were hearing directly from farmers in the Midwest about unusual tick activity in their fields, reports of boxes of ticks being found, and reports of ticks being seen in ways that feel out of the ordinary. The mainstream news is out here saying that Lyme disease experts predict another bad year in 2026. All of this is converging in a very interesting way. How the tick population is behaving, Lyme disease on the rise, there's strange things around that too. Pfizer and the interesting timing of what they're up to, we'll look at that in just a bit. But one of the scariest, and probably the scariest actually in connection to this, is something in regards to the Lone Star tick.
Well, the Lone Star tick has made its way to California and infected over hundreds of people in the last few months with AGS, a rare disease that makes humans allergic to red meat and dairy, forcing them to go vegan.
And listen to what this guy Matthew Lao had to say about this.
Two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would, it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, you know, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy, I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, you know, but so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance, and some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
So the elites of the world are not talking about how it's a terrible thing that this is something that would happen to a human being, but this is something that they can do more of and spread this more so that people won't eat meat, but that they'll have to eat whatever climate change diet they think is right. This video has been going around online and it is scary to see, especially after hearing these last videos on this. But I do also want to say in relation to this, of course, Bill Gates is always brought into these conversations. When you first search online, it'll say, no, he has no connection to tick research. But then actually, yeah, you go back to about 2021 and you find out that he has awarded different companies through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation into ticks and parasites that feed on the blood of cattle and other livestock. And that is just what's known. Bill Gates does own the largest amount of farmland in the United States. What does he know about the strange activity of ticks that is being reported around America? He's also an early investor into Beyond Meat. Maybe he wants a lot of people to get bit by that tick, so they have to eat his Beyond Burgers. Well, whatever the case is at the moment with all of that, some people will say that's true, some people will say it's not. Either way, ticks being used as a form of a bioweapon is a real thing.
Did we actually use ticks as bioweapons?
Yes, it's actually in CIA documents that have been declassified. For instance, infected ticks were deployed from C-130s flying low over sugarcane fields in Cuba back in the day under President Kennedy. There is abundant evidence of the testing, field testing, of infected ticks and other insects in a variety of settings in the United States and elsewhere.
Yeah, so even with the ticks, numerous people in the Tesla Club have had problems with ticks already. One guy ejected one after putting the Tesla bulbs on his skin. And here's another one. In the evening, after being in the garden all afternoon, I had a big tick behind my ear, which I removed within the hour. Took an antihistamine, which FYI reduces any allergic reactions, and quickly used the Tesla for a good 20 to 30 minutes around the area because I know how nasty and long-lasting the bites could be. By the time I went to sleep, the area behind my ear had swollen up slightly and was painful. I had to avoid sleeping on that side and was a bit disappointed that the results weren't immediate, but willing to accept that the Tesla doesn't work for some things. But in the morning, I couldn't believe it when the swelling had been fast-tracked at the healing stage where it had shrunk and there was no tenderness or pain. I mean, the Tesla spared me at least 3 to 4 days of tender recovery in my estimation by speeding up my body's recovery by 3 times. Or who knows? My friend had a tick and it knocked her around for 2 weeks. Yeah, so that person, her friend got bit by a tick. She was like bad, like really bad, for 2 weeks. This person put it on. The next morning, she was mostly healed. I don't know if it defends against the Lyme disease in particular, but it seems to work on most things. Anyway, if you can get access to a plasma machine, it is one of the most miraculous things, the biggest miracle in our lifetimes, that it's back. I know some people still can't even believe it, right? It's like, what, Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante on BitChute, is one of the only people who knows about it? It's like, yeah, I don't know why. But now Stu Peters also knows about it, so that's two. But that's not very many people. Well, Max knows about it, but he never talks about it because it costs money. But, you know, of all the people who have an audience, hardly anyone knows about it still. It's been like 2 years now. I can't believe it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't have apples, don't have my wife, don't have my son here at the moment. They'll be back tonight. Kind of sad. I'm always a little sad when we're apart. But I guess I'll just stay here and keep the dogs apart for now. I don't know what's going on with them. They've been fighting a lot lately. Anyway, whenever they scratch each other up too bad, we just put them on the Tesla machine and heal them. so at least we can heal them, and you know, I'm conscious enough to know what to do if I see them fighting to end it very quickly. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Maybe I'll see Max later. I don't even know. Maybe I'm just by myself all day here.
The chains are tightening. The key is turning. The gavel is coming down. Your fate is short. Bibi on trial. The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Hear the tick-tock. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short. 360 million facing starvation because of one man's reckless escalation. Fertilizer prices up, the fields are dry, and America's missiles, watch them fly. Bibi on trial. The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Hear the tick-tock. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short. Washington Post wrote the truth today. 25% of missiles gone away. Pacific stockpiles empty and cold.
China is watching the story unfold.
You needed those rockets for Taiwan shore. Now they're in Iran and you want more. Atlantic magazine said it clear as glass. Iran decides the future now.
First class.
Bibi on trial. The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Hear the tick-tock. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short. $50 billion spent on the sand. Who's holding the car? Iran's right hand. You can pick JD Vance to take the fall, but Iran holds the pen. That says it all. The Strait is closed for you and your friend. This is the moment.
This is the end.
You thought you could bomb, you thought you could hide, but the world is watching from every side. The chains are tightening.
The key is turning.
The gavel is falling.
The world is learning.
Bibi on trial. The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Hear the tick-tock. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short. Bibi on trial. The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Hear the tick-tock. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short. So Bibi,
The Strait is still closed.
the key is still here.
The gavel is coming down.
Your fate is short. Bibi on trial. 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 The Strait is the lock. Iran is the key. Bibi in chains. The world is the court. Iran is the gavel. Your fate is short.